TNT, explosive, the dynamic duo, father and son. Here we go. Here we go. Welcome back. It's been a while for us, but we're back here. It's Monday, March the 4th, 2024. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. It's been a little bit of a second since we've been on, but we went through the month of February, which was my birthday month, but we're back again. How you feeling, Mr. Divine?
I'm doing awesome. You know, it's a good sunny day right now.
Right. After all that rain, huh?
Yeah, the leaves blowing.
I know you can't be feeling too good. You know why?
Why not?
Because yesterday them Warriors got beat down by 50 by them Celtics. So I know you can't feel too good.
So what? We beat them in the finals. We beat them this year. I don't really care.
So you think the 50-point win that don't mean nothing?
It was a beatdown. I'm not saying nothing. It was pretty big. To be honest, I really don't care. I really don't care at all. Let's give a crow to that.
Why is it a crow? It don't mean nothing?
No.
Why not?
It's just a crow. It don't mean nothing. They're not gonna do anything else.
Okay, so they're not gonna win the finals? The Celtics not gonna win the finals?
I laughed.
Okay, well then let me laugh if you're gonna laugh. Okay, so they're not gonna win the final. Okay. Well, that was one thing. I also wanted, before we get into, we're gonna talk about the wrestling, the WWE, the different eras of the WWE, and what has transpired, through the Elimination Chamber going up to WrestleMania. But I also want to give a shout out to LeBron James for scoring his 40,000. Give him his hand clap. The NBA's all-time scoring leader now. He's been there for a minute, but he's only one in the 40,000 point club. Is he the greatest? No, MJ is the greatest. We all know that, but yeah, don't do the crows on MJ. That's MJ, man.
Yeah, he's not even better than Kareem.
He's definitely better than Kareem.
He's not better than Kareem. He's not better than Bron.
He's definitely better than Kareem.
Not better than Hakeem.
I mean, you keep saying that, but you're not proving no points. Nobody was as clutch as MJ. So, who was as clutch as MJ? Please tell me.
Robert Horry.
Robert Horry. Robert Horry's a bench player.
He's still more clutch.
You know what we're going to call him? He's a bench-ass dude. You feel me? So, yeah, to say that he's all that, that's not true. Stop it.
He's just more clutch. I can't really say anything.
He's not more clutch.
Clutch.
He's not.
We'll have more points. Kobe had more points. Call 4-4-5.
Yeah, they had more points, but they weren't clutch. 6 out of 6 in the finals.
Joe Johnson was more clutch.
6 out of 6 in the finals.
6 out of 6 in the finals.
Yes.
Sometimes he wasn't the best player in the finals.
He was always the MVP of the finals.
Okay.
6 MVPs.
Okay, Cedric Maxwell was the MVP. Andre Iguodala was MVP.
Yeah, okay, well, that was in their series. We're talking about in MJ series and Michael Jordan series. He was the MVP.
Yeah, but he wasn't the best player.
What do you mean?
It's voting. It's voting stats. They gotta.
Yeah, but he was the best player in that finals. That's why he's the MVP.
No.
Yes.
He was not the best player in the finals.
Yes, of course he was.
You also got to factor in the losers. He wasn't the best player.
Stop it. Give yourself a boo, please. Give yourself a boo. I
can't do that. I gotta give myself a cheer.
See, that's why you don't let certain people handle the sound effects, because
you get a free boo.
Okay,
but you gotta pay me back for that.
And I bet you,
I'm right.
You're not right. I bet you also think LBJ is better than Michael Jordan. Is that what you think too? You one of those guys?
Yeah. Yes.
Why would he be better than Michael Jordan? Please tell me.
Better playmaker, better offensive game. He's had
how many times has he lost in the finals?
10 finals, by the way.
Most finals, most all-stars.
Better competition. Let's not factor in
better competition. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
KD Warriors, 739 Warriors, the San Antonio Spurs. We have the Miami Heat.
Okay, and we got the Utah Jazz. Okay,
Utah
we got
Jazz.
the Houston Rockets.
They didn't face the Houston Rockets.
We got the. I'm just telling you who was in the era right there. You know, the Celtics, the Pistons.
The Celtics wasn't good in the 90s.
The Pistons. I'm giving you something. Don't just try to cut me off every time I'm saying something.
Yeah, because
I
got
Cavs.
The Cavs wasn't good.
Come on, man.
With Larry Nance and Mark Price. Come on now.
It. Come on, man. Now, yeah, the Seattle Supersonics.
Two good players.
I'm just saying.
And then the rest are scrubs.
You know, I'm just saying though, like don't try to disrespect MJ.
You guys had guys like Michael Jackson in there. You had Michael Jackson. I saw Ronald McDonald in a Wizards jersey.
So MJ's resume isn't as good as LBJ's. Is what you're telling me? Huh?
They're neck and neck. I will say that.
Stop that, because first of all,
neck and neck.
They changed the NBA rules for LeBron so he can get all these points. You can't touch him. He can't do anything. He can walk with the ball. The man walks with the ball. He picks it up and he walks.
I know he walks with the ball.
Okay, so we want to call it
okay.
They changed up the rules.
Let's factor in the fact that in the 80s that they had to change up the defense system, which you can't do illegal defenses, which is zone, which we do nowadays.
That's bad. Like that means when MJ and them was playing, you had to do man. You had to man up. You had to man up guard your man. Now you don't have to man up guard your man. You can just guard an area. You can slide off. And that helps out teams like the Warriors. Because if the Warriors had to man up in D when they was winning all those championships, they wouldn't have won all the championships because they wasn't big enough. They weren't big enough.
They still had.
They were sliding. They were sliding their defense.
Yeah, it was good. It's good basketball. It's great basketball.
It was a different.
Like San Antonio Spurs. That's great basketball because they were doing pass. The passing was amazing.
But they still had great D though. Regardless, if there was no zone, they did because of the zone. If there was no zone, like back in the day, the San Antonio Spurs could have still won the championship because they could have manned up. When you had Ginobili and Bruce Bowen and you got Duncan and you got all them players, they can man up. Then you go to Curry and them and Clay. You had all those other pieces that just couldn't man up, but since you're able to play a zone, you're able to just slide your man off to the next man and not man up, then it helps out your defense.
I gotta give you a boo for that.
All I'm saying is the defense and the competition was different in Michael Jordan's era. It was harder. And so LeBron, yeah, okay. I'm still giving you your props, but you're not the greatest. And nobody else is the greatest besides MJ. Let's just leave it at that.
Wilt's better.
Uh-huh. That's what they are.
Hakeem's better.
No.
Stop. Same era.
Stop.
Same era.
Stop it.
It's the same exact era.
Hakeem couldn't get the Dream couldn't get a championship until Michael Jordan decided he wanted to go play baseball. Then he gets a title. Then he gets 2 titles because Michael Jordan's off playing baseball. If Michael Jordan had never went to play baseball, Hakeem would be with no rings and just be called the Dream with no rings.
Okay.
So let's just keep it at that.
If it was Houston and Bulls, Michael Jordan said to himself that it would be a tough series.
I don't care what Michael Jordan said. He tried to help out he's trying to help out the players that didn't get anything. He's trying to, he's just trying to help out those players and try to make them feel better. But he knows what it is. He knows what it is. I mean, come on. Let's just be real.
Yeah, okay.
You leave and go to play baseball, and then you come back and play basketball again, and then you get 3 in a row.
Smart GM.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
That's
Jerry Krause, you did your thing. Let me give Jerry Krause a dub cheer.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to call it from now on, a dub. That's what we call it, a dub.
A dub?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's get back to wrestling.
We're back on it. We went on a rant. That was good. I like that. Friendly competition. So let's get into the eras of wrestling. I'm going to start it off with, we're going to discuss the greatest eras and see how you feel about it, how I feel about it, and go from there. I'm just going to name them off real quick. Where I started getting into WWE wrestling was during the golden era with the Hulk Hogan's, the Macho Man's. Um, but where I really, really, really fell in love with wrestling was the next era, was the New Generation era. Because I love Bret Hart. Bret Hart, in my book, is the number one wrestler of all time. Then after the New Generation was, what was the next one?
We have the Attitude Era.
The Attitude Era. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Boy.
The most critically acclaimed era in WWE history.
Right. And that was a great era. I ain't gonna lie to you. That was also the era that was battling with WCW at that point, with the NWO and everything. So that was a good era in wrestling too. Then we go to what's next?
We have the Ruthless Aggression Era.
The Ruthless Aggression Era.
Led by John Cena and Batista.
Right. John Cena was young when he first started because he was the one who spouted it out to Kurt Angle. Told him he had ruthless aggression. And they wrestled, and Kurt Angle won, but John Cena gave him a good run for his money. It was early John Cena in the red tights. Then, after the Ruthless Aggression, we got the PG era. Who was leading the PG era?
It was still John Cena, but I would say second in command was probably CM Punk.
Okay, Punk was second in command, you think, in that era?
Yes.
Okay. And then I guess right now we're at the current era, which the current era is the Renaissance era, which I'm not even a fan of that name. I'm not really a fan of the name. I don't even know if I'm a fan of this era. I do still like it, but I don't know how big of a fan I am on it. So let's get straight in. I'm going to start with you. I did a lot of talking. I want to hear from you right now. I want to hear you break down some things. So give me some conversation on it. Out of all those eras that we picked, what's your era that you feel is the best, and explain why? Give me some in-depth analysis of why you feel like it's the best. And
I'm gonna do a ranking on it.
Okay, well, rank it then. If that's what you want, to do. What's the rankings?
All right. So how many eras do we have? Was it 6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All right.
With today's era, so yes, 6.
Starting at number 6, we have the New Generation era. I think that was arguably the worst era of wrestling of all time from both a WWF standpoint and a WCW standpoint. Both of them really, their ideas were pretty bad. There's a lot of terrible characters of it. Golden Era had like the same idea of characters, but it was more of a child standpoint, and now those kids were starting to grow older, and they were not attracted to those same characters as they were before.
Okay, so let me just make sure I got that right. So right now you ranked the New Generation as 6?
Yes.
Okay.
New Generation 6. Number 5 probably have to be the PG era. They had some okay. The weekly shows were pretty bad. They had some okay pay-per-views. They had some great stories, I will say. They had probably some of the best stories of all time with the late 2010. Well, I'm not going to say late 2010s, the late version of The Undertaker's Shriek. We had the CM Punk and John Cena storyline, which I think is the best rivalry of all time.
CM Punk and John Cena?
Yes.
That's the best rivalry?
Yes.
What about Bret and Shawn Michaels?
That's not even the best Shawn Michaels rivalry.
What you mean? Yes, it is. Of course.
It's Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Of course not. Of course not.
What you mean, of course not?
Bret Hart is the greatest wrestler. So anything he's involved in is going to make him make his rivalries one of the best. Then you got Shawn Michaels that was one of the best. Then you got all of the screw jobs and all of the other things that had transpired during that time frame.
They didn't even have enough matches to be considered a rivalry. They didn't even have enough long-standing rivalry. Like
they had enough. They definitely had enough matches.
They had on and off matches from like
they
like 92 to like 97.
I don't care. They just had the rivalry on TV about Macho Man and Jake the Snake, and they only showed 2 matches.
They
only showed 2 matches, and they called that a rivalry. So don't tell me that because of the matches that it's not a rivalry. That's not true. That's definitely not true. But anyway, so that's number 5. PG. We'll come back to that. PG is number 5. What else?
Number 4 is the Hulk Hogan era, the Golden Era.
Okay.
Like I said, with those characters, they were really pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. The wrestling in ring work was bad. Probably the worst of their time period. I'm not gonna bring up segregation wrestling.
That's what you call it?
No, the Golden Era is not segregation wrestling.
Oh.
Bruno Sammartino's era is segregation wrestling.
Oh, okay. So the era prior to that, is that the prior era before the Golden Era?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, that's at 4. And the promos, I'm not gonna lie, they were overrated. 3.
Okay. The promos were overrated in the Golden Era?
Yes. These next 2 are interchangeable. Number one is the undisputed GOAT for me. So these next 2 are interchangeable. Number 3, Attitude Era. Yeah, it's the most critically acclaimed, but it's probably the most overrated.
It's the most overrated in your opinion?
Yes.
Okay.
And you just have some bad characters, like I said. Like, you gotta have some good character work. Like
what?
Like, you had the Beaver Cleavages, you had the Val Venuses, you had Sexual Chocolate.
Sexual Chocolate, yeah. He was having his woman give birth to a ham, baby. You feel me? So what's wrong with that? Get him in.
Crows on that one. And maybe I'll give you a cheer.
I'm just saying, you ain't never seen nobody give birth to a ham before, so.
And in-ring work, I'll say, is pretty good. There was some years where I was like, like some bad years of terrible in-ring work in that era, in that short span. Yeah, you had that. You also had some of the biggest stars of WWE history, so I'll put them in there. But number 2 is the current era / the Renaissance era. And the reason why I say that is more marketability, I feel like. Like, you can cater to both adult audience and a kid's audience in that aspect.
Today?
And you have some of the best characters of all time.
Today?
With the current day Roman Reigns.
Oh, man.
With Cody Rhodes, with Seth Rollins, with LA Knight. You have some good, you have consistent in-ring work. You have
Today.
Consistent promos. You have great pay-per-views consistently.
Do you?
And yeah.
And you still just have champ after champ just continue to keep the belt time after time. Like, that's not okay. But anyway.
Hopscotch or keep it for a long time. It's either way, it's still pretty bad.
Hopscotch, so that's when you're giving the belt away? It just keeps going to hand to hand to hand to hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then number 1 is the undisputed GOAT, Ruthless Aggression, because you had. Let me explain this.
I'm listening.
All these. You had John Cena. You had.
Can I get a boo real quick? I don't like your list, but go. Can I get a boo? Thank you, because that is terrible. But anyway, keep going.
You have John Cena, you have Batista, you have Edge, you have Rey Mysterio, you have Triple H, you have Shawn Michaels, you have Shelton Benjamin, you have all these guys that were consistent in-ring workers. You had some of the best storytelling of all time. You had great divisions. You had a great World Championship division. You have a great women's division. Like, the women's division of the 2000s was probably some of the most underrated work of all time.
So the Ruthless Aggression era, who was the women's division?
Yeah, Trish Stratus, you have Lita, you have Victoria, you have Jazz, you have Molly Holly, you have all these different. You have Jacqueline. You got all these different in-ring workers.
Awesome Kong.
Awesome Kong wasn't in.
I'm asking. I don't remember.
Awesome Kong wasn't in that.
Oh, she was did that one?
No.
Oh, okay.
You had Gail Kim. You had Mickey
James.
Ivory was in there. Yeah. Chyna was in the very early stages of it.
Okay.
Yeah, you had good women's division.
You love them women's division, huh? You just love that division.
I love the women's division. Yes. Yeah, good World Championship division. You have a good mid-card division with the United States Championship and the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, you had a good cruiserweight division which I'll argue is probably better than the WCW one.
No, it definitely wasn't.
I, I,
Definitely
I
wasn't.
said I'll argue.
Yeah, you better argue because the WCW's cruiserweight division had former world champions in it. Okay, Rey Mysterio. Okay,
I'm just talking.
Eddie Guerrero. Okay, Chris Jericho.
Yeah,
okay,
it's talking in hindsight, but you're talking in hindsight.
I'm just saying though, those are all former world champions right there.
Yeah, you're talking in hindsight. Right?
I mean, I hear you.
I'm just talking
hindsight is 2020, man.
2020.
2020.
2020.
Yes, because I can see it perfectly because I've seen it already. So yes, it's 2020. Definitely 2020. You better brush up on your lingo if you don't know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It ain't in 2020. It's probably in, I don't know, 70, 40. Where we at?
Wait a minute. You don't know how to judge your eyesight? Okay. All right.
I'm trying to have fun with you.
Okay, you can do that. Well, can you laugh with the laugh machine so we know that you don't just mean that for real? All right. Because for a minute there, I was worried about you. So I was going to be like, what are they teaching you at that school?
Okay.
Okay.
How's your list go?
You want to hear my list? My list is fabulous.
Okay.
It's fabulous. Can I get a hand clap? So, first of all, I'm gonna go with the worst. The worst one was PG. Okay, that's the worst. Don't try to give me blood and everything else prior to this. Then all of a sudden you want to cut me off and stop cussing and stop giving me blood, and you don't want to promote pimps and hoes no more. Don't give it to me and take it away. I don't like that. Don't do that. Don't. What is Vince doing? Then let's see. I'm looking at them right now. And I'm looking at the list. My number 5 is going to be actually what your number 1 is. Ruthless Aggression. That's my number 5. I don't.
What?
My number 5 is Ruthless Aggression to me. I mean, I hear you. I seen what had taken place in that. You know, I was kind of off that a little bit off WWE at this point. It was like turning into a direction that I really wasn't feeling, and we were losing our superstars that I grew up with. We was losing the Triple H's, the Rocks, the Stone Colds, everybody else, was leaving and it was done. So it was a whole different generation at that point that was turning over, and I wasn't really feeling it like that. It wasn't showing me the best product that I felt. And maybe you might have seen that as a great product, but you were also looking at that as new eyes. I was looking at that in old eyes, and my old eyes told me that's not the wrestling that I've known to grow to love. So, yeah, that's number 5 for me. Then we can go to number 4. Number 4 is actually I'm gonna have the same number 4 as you. The Golden Era. I love the Golden Era. But we're ranking these right now. So if I'm ranking these right now, yeah, it has to be number 4. I like the characters that we had. I actually love the characters we had. The Hulk Hogan, the Randy Savage. We just was watching the Jake Roberts rivalry with Macho Man, so Jake Roberts, King Kong Bundy's, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, even like the Jobber. Like I always bring up Brooklyn Brawler because he was part of the Heenan family. So the Brooklyn Brawler, Andre the Giant. Like there were some characters and things in there that I love. They even brought Debo in there, and Debo was Zeus. So I mean, I got to give that some. That was a good era, but it's still number 4 where I'm at. Next, I would give it to. It's going to be today. Number 3 is today. Okay. I don't know. Again, I'm not really a fan of holding on to the belts for years at a time. I'm not a fan of, everybody got to be clicked up. I'm not a fan of promoting wrestlers so fast that all of a sudden they're just the man and not really developing them and pushing them through U.S. title reigns, intercontinental reigns, then getting to the show. So there's a lot to be undesired about today's that I'm not really a fan of. But they do have some. You are right. There is some things that I do like. I love the way Roman holds the crowd. He really learned. Um, he's really learned over the years how to really hold the crowd, and he does a very good job of that now. Um, Seth is great with holding the crowd. I'm not really. You already know I'm not really a fan of Cody. Um, Gunther, you know, he's dominant, but there's something to that I'm still not all the way feeling. I don't see it all the way. I don't know if it's his character development. I don't know. It's just something about Gunther that I'm just not really haven't really caught on to. Then next, we'll go to number 2 is going to be the Attitude Era.
Okay.
Love the Attitude Era. Attitude Era was great. Stone Cold, Rock, Triple H, D-Generation X just acted the fool. It was just straight anarchy going on in the WWE. Drinking beer, giving the middle finger, having women half naked. It was just off the chain. Can I get a hand clap for that half naked women on TV? I mean, man, it just was uncensored. Blood everywhere. It was just uncensored, and it was ridiculous. And it was rivaling against the NWO and WCW. So it was just like, I was a kid in the candy store. I was loving it. I couldn't wait for Monday nights. And I'm flipping back and forth to watch WWE and watch WCW. It was great. It was a great time. And I love it. Yeah, some of the characters were like you said, son, some of the characters were they were kind of lame, but when it came to the Top Boys and they came out and did their thing talking crazy, it was one of the best eras ever. And my number one is the New Generation era. Oh, you want to laugh at that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
New Generation era. Why? Well, there's one reason that it really just, in my opinion, has to be. You have the number one wrestler of all time, Bret Hart. Oh, that's the music. That's his music. And then he comes down, he takes the glasses off, give it to the little kids. Kid goes crazy, and then he gets in the ring, does the best wrestling moves of all time, beats the wrestler down, and get up out of there with the belt. That's Bret Hart. Yes, you're right. Don't. You're right. But then you got the introduction of the Undertaker. You had Sid. You had just Sean. You had just a plethora of wrestlers that I like. Now, did we have a lot of jobbers like Bash and Booger in them? Yes, we did, of course. But I mean, I would think today, that's one thing I will give today. You guys don't really use today's wrestling doesn't really use too many jobbers like that. Like, there's a lot of main event matches that takes place. Now that can be somewhat good, somewhat bad. Because how can it be bad? It can be bad because guess what we get? We get a lot of the same matches over and over, week by week, week by week. How many times do we see a match over and over again today?
It was literally a trend for like 3 months of, Cody, Jey Uso,
Right.
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn facing the Judgment Day.
We've seen it so many times. Yeah. Give that something. Do something. Okay, I'll take the bull in there because that's what happens today. We see a lot of that. And the reason is because, like, back in the day, they had jobbers, so you wouldn't get that over and over again every week because now you're facing what? Brooklyn Brawler, then you might face Iron Mike Sharp, then you might face, I might even put the Hall of Famer Coco Beware in there. Coco Beware is a Hall of Fame jobber. Now, today is, like I said, you got a lot of good stars. You do definitely have a lot of good superstars in there. But again, we get the same matches. We got the same champions that just keep holding on to the belts. We understand the Shield is great. We get it. You don't have to have Roman and Seth just dominating the belts like that. We understand the Shield is great. So I understand that. And so that's my list. I'm not gonna knock your list. Um, I think my list is better. I do. Um, but I'm not gonna knock your list in any kind of way. Um, what I do want to do though is go into something else though. I want to get into what we hadn't been able to get into because we hadn't been on doing just going over the elimination chamber and the winners of the elimination chamber. Drew McIntyre, what were you saying?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, you gonna give me a Okay,
Yeah.
what you think about Drew winning the men's elimination chamber?
I mean, I kind of expected this. I'm not really expecting nobody else because either on SmackDown or they have no chance of winning. Shout out LA Knight.
Yeah, I mean, LA's crowd participation in his character is so great and so high. I'm just like, that's one person out of anybody that I can say that I just got through talking about just making people stars all of a sudden. He already has such a fan base.
Yeah.
Even from his time in TNA to now, people know him that they can put the belt on him and they can run with it. He can captivate an audience with his microphone skills, so they can run with that. But we're back to Cody against Roman.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, give me a boo on that. I don't like that.
You gotta pay me back twice now.
Say it again.
You gotta pay me back twice now.
Oh, because you keep giving me boos. But again, we're back with that, and it looks like we'll talk about it. But it looks like Cody's gonna fulfill that dream of yours and his and the WWE fans. He's gonna fulfill that. We'll get to that in a minute. Then we also got Becky Lynch winning females elimination chamber. Now that one I don't really particularly care for. I don't particularly care for either one of them. Like Drew, we've seen you and Seth keep fighting. Here we go with a recycle match once again. We've seen that so many times in the last few months now.
Yeah.
And now you're gonna make that a WrestleMania main event? Like, come on.
No, it's not gonna main event. We know it's gonna main event.
Okay, well, whatever it's gonna do.
Okay.
It's still Drew against Seth again. Stop forcing that down my throat. I don't want to keep seeing that. And then you're giving me Becky Lynch. Like, come on, man. Like, what do you think about Becky Lynch winning the women's? Give me something. Like, tell me what you think about that.
I'm not really particularly happy about it, but I'm not mad at it because I know that was their whole plan going into it.
What's the plan behind that?
The plan was to give Rhea her big match and for ultimately her to retain, I'll probably guess, because I don't think Becky's going to win the women's title at this point.
They couldn't give a big match with her and Bianca? Wouldn't that be a big match right there?
Yeah, that would have to main event. I feel like that would have to main event at this point. I don't think they will main event right now.
So you're saying Becky and Rhea's, they're not a main event. That's not a main event.
They're not gonna main event.
So the main event is gonna strictly be Roman and Cody and the tag team match the first night, and then the singles match the second night.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean that makes sense. It definitely makes sense. And like I said earlier in the show, and you kind of gave me like that didn't make sense to you, but what do you think about it? Looks like to me that what's coming up as a rivalry is going to be Jade and Nia Jax. Am I wrong on that? Am I not seeing that right? Or because you made it seem like I wasn't seeing that right?
No. We haven't got any teasers for that yet. I do think that's going to be the WrestleMania match for sure, but I haven't seen any teasers for that. So they might just change it automatically because we've seen Jade stare down EO.
Right.
She might just be spectating at the women's match to just to give her,
Right. But okay, you're right. To give her a little, I get it. But with Jade, with saying that in Jade, I was just reading up on an article where it was saying, they want to get Jade out there, but they're saying that she's not remembering pieces of moves in, when she's trying to get through matches right now, in the training center. And so they're not sure how to put her out there if she's not being able to remember almost like the script of the match. But I'm like, I hear you, but I don't because she's wrestled before many, many times.
Yes.
And I think she can figure her way through it. So, to say that, I'm like, okay, I hear you.
Okay. Well, let me say this.
Well,
And a lot of her matches over at AEW,
right,
a lot of her matches were pretty much squash matches.
right, right.
So I guess I sort of understand what they're saying because she's not used to working long-winded matches.
Right.
But she can go out there and probably wrestle a 10-minute match. She's been training. I've seen her train with EO. I've seen her train with Natalia.
Right.
She's in a performance center. She's able to train with people I'll say is like have more experience.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I like I said, I'm with you on that too. And a squash match is what? Like what's a squash match? Let everybody know if they don't know what a squash match is.
A squash match is if somebody's just dominating the entire match. Maybe you can end in like 5 minutes. Maybe you can end 10 seconds. I don't know.
Right. And that's what you're saying that Jade was doing in AEW, which, yeah, of course, that's what she was doing. I mean, that's the same thing that they was doing. It's the exact same thing they was doing with back in the day with Goldberg. To push Goldberg, he was having lots of squash matches. And so they were doing the same thing just to make sure that she was dominating. So now I'm like, okay, I'm ready for Jade to get there. It's time. Like, WWE, please. Like, you gave it to us. You gave it to us at Royal Rumble. Don't sleep on her and don't hold her out so long that everybody forgets the dominating things that she did in AEW. That would be a bad move. What you think?
Yeah, that would be pretty bad move. You need to get her in the ring by Mania. That needs to happen. And you guys don't know what you're doing if you don't handle that situation.
Right, and handle it in the proper way.
Yes.
And the last thing I want to talk about is what we saw at SmackDown. What we saw on SmackDown, what was that, March the 1st?
No.
Friday, March the 1st. The Bloodline. They came out at the end of the show. And Roman came out with the Bloodline first. Roman was getting ready to leave. And then Paul said, no. We can't leave yet because we need The Rock to come out. Rock comes out. Rock comes out looking good in his Versace. You know how he do it. Looking good in his Versace. He had the glasses on, the sunglasses on.
We're in 2024. What are you talking about? He looked good. No.
He came out dripping. He was dripping. You telling me about...
You don't work with that bald head.
You always tell me about Seth is dripping.
No.
His drip game.
A joke. It's a joke drip. Okay. This is just a terrible drip.
No, Rock is dripping. He come out dripping, and so he come out dripping, and now you hating, but he come out dripping, and then what does he do?
Work with that bald head.
Oh, it does. He's the man. He's the WWE man. He's the Bloodline man. He's the Hollywood man. Give that man a hand clap.
Hand clap, but you understand the point.
I'm just saying. But here we go. And so he comes out, and he just rips the fans of Arizona just a new one because he tells them about them being meth heads and crackheads, and he said he don't even know where he at. Is he in Phoenix? Is he in Glendale? He's just going off. So he's just tearing them apart. And he's just doing a great promo like The Rock knows how to do. Just tearing it up. And then that moment comes when The Rock is about to say, finally. And what happens when he's getting ready to say finally? Tell me about it. What happens?
Roman puts his hand on The Rock.
And what happens?
Rock, I need you to do me one thing.
What's that? What did Roman tell him? Tell me.
Acknowledge me.
What you thought about that? He told The Rock to acknowledge him?
Why would he ask that?
He asked The Rock to acknowledge him as what?
Your tribal chief.
Wow. And so what happened?
The Rock acknowledged him as a tribal chief, but he was looking pretty mad. Now, I'll say so myself. You looking pretty pretty upset. And I feel like that set off something in The Rock.
So that part, when Roman did grab his arm and then made him acknowledge him, can I get a boo on that? They basically just set it up when that happened, and they basically set it up to guess what's about to happen. What's going to happen? We're going to go to WrestleMania Night 1, the tag team match that The Rock set up on SmackDown. He set it up on SmackDown, and it's going to be day 1, Night 1 of WrestleMania. What's the tag team match going to be?
Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes goes against the Bloodline, The Rock, and Roman Reigns. I'm surprised that Roman's going to be able to work 2 nights.
He's going to have to work 2 nights.
In 1 weekend. So is The Rock, huh?
Right. And so The Rock said if the Bloodline wins, then it's going to be Bloodline rules, anything goes.
Yep.
If Cody and Seth wins, no Bloodline. Bloodline is barred from ringside.
Yes.
I got the Bloodline winning. What you got?
I got the Bloodline winning.
I got the Bloodline winning. I got Roman going in against Cody on night 2. And I got Roman going to pay for what he just did on SmackDown. You're going to pay for trying to upstage The Rock and making The Rock acknowledge you. What you think?
Oh yeah, definitely, because there's gonna be more tension coming soon.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. That was the first thing, but yeah, leading up to WrestleMania, there's gonna be definitely more tension. I don't know if somehow Rock is gonna get hit by a chair, if Rock's gonna get speared on accident, or what. But there is more tension coming. You're right, 100%. And this is gonna be the end of Roman Reigns' reign as the champion. Cody will fulfill that dream. And it's going to start up a rivalry between The Rock and Roman because The Rock is going to help Cody win that belt.
Yes, he is.
So the WWE pretty much is telling us what it is. You can pretty much bank on it. They pretty much are setting it up, and they're putting it right in our face. So I'm not going to go against this one. I see where they're going, and it is what it is. And I know you're excited about that, but me, I'm not excited about seeing Cody as the champion. So, yeah, just
you haven't even let him have a chance at a singles title. You need to see how it goes.
So let him get a U.S. belt. Let him get an Intercontinental belt. He don't need World Championship.
It's time for him to hold that.
No, and we're talking about the WWE World Title. We ain't talking about just the World Championship. We're talking about the WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Title. Like, that's something totally different.
Let me ask this question: who you think should dethrone Roman?
Roman don't need to be dethroned. He could just retire and then we'll go for him.
No. And that just buries the whole roster.
And put it up in a tournament.
That just buries the whole roster.
Who cares?
You're taking the story from 2K.
No,
2K just made this story.
Made what story?
Just make 2K just made this story.
What story?
Of Roman relinquishing his belt.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't take you 2Ks. I didn't know that's what happened.
Oh.
Great minds think alike. Stop hating. Why you hating?
Roman relinquishing the belt. That's burying the roster.
How's that burying the roster? Because somebody needs to beat him?
Somebody needs to beat him.
Why? What? No, that's ridiculous and out of pocket for you to even say somebody has to beat him. Like, that's ridiculous. But I mean, you got your own thoughts, and I got my thoughts. What?
Everybody needs somebody to beat. That's why Bruno had to lose the belt. That's why Bob Backlund had to lose the belt. That's why Hulk Hogan had to lose the belt. When you have a long time run, you need somebody to lose the belt.
Okay. I guess we'll talk about that the next time. Just remember that somebody needs, I'm writing this down. Somebody needs to lose the belt. Okay. All right. Well, I'm writing it down. We'll talk about it next time. It's a great show tonight that we had. I'm glad to be back on. Glad to be on here with you again. Your list was terrible. Give it another boo.
I can't do that.
Okay. We'll give mine a hand clap then.
That's fine.
Yeah, that is fine because my list was great. I want to thank everybody who listens. And we're out for the night.
All right.
Good show.